Alright guys, so I'll be showing you two different ways that I like to use to create an SVG. The first one is something that you have created in Photoshop, in Inkscape, whatever. So you go and you open it and make sure it says embedded when you do open that file or image that you're going to be using. So I just maximize it so you have your screen. It will open in another screen. So right click and then click trace bitmap. And on here you want to click multiple scans. Sometimes you have to click colors. And I like to just count how many colors are actually in my document. And then I always do remove background. You don't absolutely have to. But if you see, the hair isn't purple, it's black. So I upped it to 5. I clicked update. It went to purple. And so I'm good. You click OK. And once it's, give it a few seconds and then exit out and you should be good. Now that you have that, you want to go and pull away the new one and delete the original. So once that original one has been deleted, you'll want to go in and right click your new image and click ungroup, and that's going to ungroup it by the colors that it picked up. And if you see, when I move this one, the purple and the black is very similar, so it's still kind of picking up the black and purple roughly at the same color, but we will fix that here in just a second. So we're going to go ahead and just move away each individual color, take the yellow one, take the orange one away. And then it can be tricky when you're doing this. Sometimes when you go to click one, it's going to drag the other. It's not a big deal. You just kind of have to play with it. It will get frustrating, trust me, but it is what it is. So now that we're just kind of moving them around and getting them where we want, we'll go in and then over on the left hand side of your control panel, you want to click that second one down, and that is going to give you all of the points. And then you're going to want to go in and just kind of drag over, it'll create a little square and delete it all, as you can see here. It's deleting all those extra ones we don't want, just keeping the hair and the 2 purple stars. And now that we have it kind of separated the way we want, just go back in and just rebuild your image almost. You're just going to put them back to where you would want them as the final cut or print project. Once you have it the way you want, you can either select all of them and group them together. I don't do that when I've created my own image. On the next part, I'll show you why you want to group those, but on this case, if you did create this in another program or software, I don't recommend you grouping them because you don't really need to at that point. So now that you have everything the way you want it, you want to go and click Save As, make sure it says SVG, and click Save. So once it's saved, just go into whatever programming you use for your cutting machine. I use Design Space because I have a Cricut. You can change the image name if you want, and then insert your file. Go in and just resize it to whatever you want. I'm just doing 11 inches just as a demonstration. And then on the right side over there, where it has everything, all of your individual files, you want to click ungroup to all of those. And that's going to make each individual one a cut file. And as you see, when I took the orange off, there's still a part of the orange hair in the yellow, which we don't want because it's just going to make a mess when it goes to cut. So instead of going back into Inkscape and just redoing the whole thing, you can just use the slice tool in Design Space and it works just as well. So this is a little different. This is when you either download or save an image from the internet that you did not make. And so make sure it's embedded when you open it. It's gonna be pretty much the same steps. There's just a few different things that I like to do because I didn't design it and I couldn't save it the way I wanted. So you're gonna do trace bitmap again. You do, make sure you get your colors, count how many colors you have. Sometimes you have to click off, whatever. But you wanna do stack on this one. So do remove background and stack. And that will come into play here in just a second. So we're gonna, do the same thing, delete the original one. We're gonna ungroup. And when you ungroup, see how it does different colors like this? That's what we want. So you're gonna go through and you're gonna drag it until you find the one that's just black and white, like a coloring page. And once you find that one, it might take a while, it might be the very bottom layer, you'll delete everything else and just keep that one. So now that we have just the outline that we want, we're going to go and get your paint bucket tool and just kind of roughly get the same colors that, you know, Mickey would have been without just the background. It's kind of a lengthy process, but it honestly pays off in the end. So what you're going to do now is you're just going to go through and, like I said, just kind of guesstimate on each individual one. But another thing to remember is, like his eyes, if you have a design that has a white spot, you still want to fill that in with white because it is a transparent background and it will be blank and there won't be a cut file. So since they're the same, you want to select them both and then go to Path and then Union, and that makes them one file. So now that we have all of our layers and the colors that we want, we're going to go and drag the original background, the coloring book style layer, and we're going to select it and then go to Path, and then we're going to click Break Apart, and that's going to fill in everything that we want to be black. That's easier when we go to layer our images. So here I just like to click all of the black again like we did with the eyes and then just group them together. And as you can see, sometimes it doesn't like to group exactly the way you want it to do, so you might have to go in and individually click each one, which is very frustrating, but it is what it is at this point. Now that they're all grouped, we're going to go and drag it back to the colors and then just kind of line it up the way you want, just, you know, as it would be in Design Space or whatever program you're using. And then we're going to select it all. Again, you might have to click a few that didn't want to select when you use your tool, and then we're going to group them all together. And the reason I like to group them all together, like I said earlier, is since they are a more layered style file, it keeps them all together. So you're going to go Save As, do the SVG again. I've already done this because I messed up on the first one, so bear with me. Then you'll go into Design Space, you'll open it up, you know, whatever program you're using, open it up, save it. And then now that it's there, you see all of your individual items on the side. You want to ungroup those, and sometimes if you're not careful, it will duplicate some of them. So as you can see, you don't need two eyes, and there's two eyes there. It has the mouth and the tongue and stuff like that. Like, you don't want that. I accidentally regrouped them, so make sure it's ungrouped, and then just go in on the side. You can see how the mouth, you want the mouth, but the tongue, the two pieces of the tongue, you don't need that because it doesn't need to be black. So you'll go in and you'll select whichever ones you want, and for those, I don't want that one, so I'm going to delete that. I don't need that. I don't need that, you know, so just go in and delete whatever you don't need, and then I like to go in and make it a group. So I select, I hide all my pieces, the colored pieces, and then on the background, you know, your first layer that you'll do, I go in and I attach them all together. So I select all the black pieces that I want to be together and I click Attach, which I messed up here, don't pay attention to me. Click them all and then click Attach. So now that you have them attached, you'll just go through and make all the other layers visible again, and you want that black attached layer to go to the bottom. You want that to be the back. And you can, you know, right click and send it back, but I didn't do that, so again, don't listen to me, and just kind of drag it, whatever, do however you want to do it that way. I did not do a great job at this right now, so I apologize on that. So once you have everything where you want it and you go to click Make It, my whole thing is I hate when it separates it to 15 million different mats. So I like to go in and kind of condense to one mat and just use smaller pieces on one mat. So you just click the three dots, move object, move them all to one, and then when you go to print, it's there, you layer it, and I hope this helps anybody who needed it and had questions. As always, thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe and sign up for notifications so you never miss a video. And make sure to head over to my other social media platforms to follow those for more ideas.